Hey, so in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to build an AI agent that can understand your company data, but also act on it and provide suggestions for improvements to different teams across your company. All of that within a chat widget such as this one. Now, the exciting part is you don't need any coding skills or AI expertise to get this done. All of this is no code, and I will share all the prompts and all the detailed steps that I have used to build this. So first I will quickly demo the agent, and then I will show you step by step how I have built it. All right, so let's dive right in. So I have the AI agent chat widget right here, and it's connected to my tools, such as a database of support tickets and product feedback. You can see some examples here on the screen, and also a description of my product teams and their scopes, what they're working on in the product, and their contact details as well. It's also connected to an email tool, so whenever I want to send an email to a relevant product team with some product feedback or a suggestion for improvement, I can also do that from within the chat widget. So since it's connected to my tools, I can ask it questions such as, what were the most common issues with our mobile app last month? And it's going to create a summary of the most common issues, such as dashboard loading, error messages, performance, and other errors. It's even mentioning specific quotes from the tickets and the numbers. Now I could have these turned into suggestions. This is a product insights agent that I have set up to analyze product feedback and provide suggestions for improvements. So I could just ask it, to send the improvement suggestions to specific product teams, because it's connected to my email tool as well. Now, of course, this could be much more complex. I could connect it to GitHub or Jira, Asana, or ClickUp to get those tasks assigned to people right away. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I just want to quickly show you how you can add different tools to the agent quickly. Think of it as adding skills to the AI agent. All right, so let's go through the whole setup step by step. So this is Appmixer, our no-code AI agent builder, and this is the finished agent that I have built and just demo within the chat widget. So I'm going to stop it and start building from scratch. So I'm going to start by clicking the create flow and create a new agentic flow from scratch. So first we need a trigger for the whole agentic flow to start. And since this is a conversational agent living inside a chat widget, I'm going to look for the chat trigger. And this is going to be the starting point of this flow. Now, this could, of course, be triggered by other events, such as a new email or a new task or a new comment within your systems. But this is what we're going to use for this conversational agent. Now, if you add the chat trigger, you're going to see some options here on the right. First is a chat URL, and that's a testing URL where you can just talk to the agent that you've built. You also get the chat script. And this is an HTML script that you can copy paste into your web application for an easy way to embed the chat widget, just like I've shown at the start. You can also have some customization options for the agent URL, the name, and the intro message that the agent is gonna show when you open the widget. So next, let's add the agent, which is the central part of this flow. So I'll pick the OpenAI agent. We of course support other models such as Gemini or Claude, and we're adding more. And here, I'm just going to pick my OpenAI account and a model that I want to use. Since this is the OpenAI agent, I'll pick a model from OpenAI. Now for the instructions, this is where you define sort of the high-level instructions for the agent. So the role and scope, how it should process requests, what steps it should be taking. Now the more detailed the instructions you give it, the more consistent the LLM model is going to be when processing the requests. So I've prepared and tested a prompt before, so I'm just going to copy paste it here. It's talking about the role of the agent, that it's supposed to provide product insights. It's describing what data it has access to, the support tickets database and the product team database. And it's also defining how it should respond to queries. So analyze ticket data to find common themes, provide recommendations, generate specific actionable product improvements suggestions. Also identify the team responsible, and so on. Also some instructions about sending the email. I'm gonna link the prompt that I've used in the video description. Now here in the prompt field, you define the content that it should process. So here I'm just gonna say process the request according to your system instructions. And by system instructions, I essentially mean the sort of main prompt that I have defined up here. Now it needs to know where the actual questions are coming from. And this is how we're gonna add here. This is what we call variables, and that's data coming from different apps. So I'm gonna use the message content coming from the chat trigger. And this means that when a new message comes in, the agent is gonna process the message content based on the prompt that I have defined and the behavior that I've specified for it. Now here in the thread ID, you can map the thread ID again from the chat trigger. And this allows the agent to maintain context of the conversation as more messages accumulate in the thread so that it can continue to have a meaningful conversation with it. Now, this is all the agent needs to work at this point. And then you'll notice that it has two output ports. The first one is called out, and that's essentially where it sends its response once it's processed a request. And then the tools port down here, you can add tools to the agent. So this will be the product database, the support ticket database, email tools, whatever you want to connect here. You can add as many as you like. So first, we're gonna finish the out port here, and I add a chat reply module. So this is essentially defining where the agent is gonna reply. So we're gonna map the thread ID again from the chat trigger, so it maintains the context. And for the message content, we're gonna use the answer coming in from the agent. So whenever the agent processes a request, uses all the data and the tools, the answer is like the final output of the agent. And this is what we're gonna use to reply back to the chat. And so now the agent is ready to talk to us. And it doesn't have access to our data yet, such as the product ticket database, but it can answer any general question that any LLM can answer. So we're just going to test it. So I'm going to start the flow and copy this testing URL that I've mentioned before. And if I do that and open this URL, I can see that there's a chat interface that's ready for testing, and I can ask it any generic question, such as, tell me a joke about product management. Okay, so it's giving me a joke. Why did the product manager bring a letter to work? Because they wanted to reach new heights in product development. Well, it's a little bit quirky, but at least we see that it works, and we've connected the basic loop. That's a trigger, the agent processing the request, and replying back. Now let's continue with adding the tools. So here for the tools part, I can add as many tools as I like. And then whenever the agent gets a request, it's going to decide which tools to use. So for example, if it has an email tool to send emails and a product, ticket database, if I ask it for recommendations, it's going to read the data, but not use the email tool. On the other hand, if I ask it to send an email, it's going to use the email tool. So essentially the point is you can add as many tools as you like, add descriptions for the tools, and then once the agent is actually running, it's gonna read the descriptions of the tools and decide which one to use. All right, so let's actually add the tools for this agent. So I'm gonna stop the flow for now and start adding tools. So whenever you're adding a tool for the agent, you first start with the tool start component. And this is where you define the description of the tool for the agent so that it knows what this tool is about and when it should use it. Again, if you're descriptive, then the agent is more consistent. So this will be the email tool. So the description is going to be, send emails to the product team. And then in the parameters, you can define what data the agent should figure out on its own, and then use the data in the email. So in other words, the parameters that I define here, the agent is then gonna figure out, to whom it should send the email, what the email should say, and then you can use that in the email itself. So I'm gonna add the a recipient here, and that's pretty straightforward. Then I'll add more, and that's going to be the subject for the email. And here I'm going to say, describe the subject in one sentence. And I can also add the body of the email, which is the text of the email. And so what we've done here, is define for the agent what data it should figure out on its own, based on the prompt it gets, the input in data, and all the data it reads from other tools. And it's going to use that, and of course the context of the conversation, to figure out what these parameters should be. And I can also use them in other steps. So when I continue here to send an email, I'm going to use send email. And then, it needs to know where it should go. And here, it's not going to be hard-coded, but it's going to use dynamic data. And I can actually use the variables that I've just defined. So the recipient, subject, and email body that the agent will figure out. So I'll map the recipient here. I can leave this empty. Then for the subject, I'll of course use the subject from here, and text, I use the email body. So that means the agent is going to figure out what it should put in the email. Now, to close the loop on this tool branch that we've just added, I need to add a closing component, and that's the tool output. And this is used so that the agent gets the output back. So whenever you have an email tool like this, or a database tool, when you use the tool output, it's going to send the data back to the agent so that it can work with it. So here for the output, we'll just use the output of the email module so that the agent can work with the data from the email action. Okay, so the email tool is ready, and we can proceed with adding our more tools. So here, I've added another tool start component, and this is going to be read the support tickets submitted by users last month. I don't need to define any parameters here, because essentially I just want the agent to go in and grab all the tickets. And yeah, for the purpose of this demo, I've created a database of support tickets. So I have 100 support tickets here in a Google Sheets spreadsheet, just for the purpose of this demo. So they have those descriptions and different types, and of course the status, if they're being processed, or what's the work being done there. So let's connect that to the agent. I'm gonna add Google Sheets get rows. Here I'll connect to my account. That's already done. Now for the spreadsheet, I'll select support tickets and feedback from January. And then I'll also have to select a worksheet, and it's going to be issues. Use header for row column names. That's true. I have header columns in those tickets. I don't need to include the header row in the actual information that I want to read. And I'll check one more option here, all rows in one message. That means it's going to grab all the rows and send it back to me. Okay, so now I have the tickets, available for reading for the agent. I'll just, again, close the loop with the tool output. And here I need to define what data should go back to the agent. And that's going to be the rows coming from the get rows component here. Okay, so that tool is also ready. And the last tool that I want to connect to this agent is the description of my product teams. So again, for the purpose of this demo, I have a description of my product teams, again, in Google Sheets spreadsheet. So I have 15 product teams, each working on a distinct part of the product, including the description of the responsibilities of that team, the name of the team lead, and the email of the agent. Of course, you'll notice that I have my own email in the first two rows, and that's because for the purpose of testing, I'm going to send those emails actually to myself and not to a demo email. So to add that spreadsheet, I'll follow the same steps as I've done with adding this one. So I've added a tool start component, and here it's going to be read the scopes and responsibilities and contact details of product teams. Again, I can leave this empty because it's gonna figure out what it needs to read from there. And I'll again need the get rows from Google Sheets. My account is already connected, and so for the spreadsheet, I'll need product teams. And for the worksheet, I'll just pick the first one because there's no other sheet in there. I don't need the header row. And again, I want all the rows. I'm just gonna close the loop here again with the tool output. And for the output, I'm gonna use the rows coming from this get rows component. Okay, so now the agent is ready to answer my questions, read data from these data sources, combine the data, provide suggestions based on the data analysis, and also send emails to people on my team, and have a conversation with me in the chat widget while keeping context. So let's actually test it. So I'll start the flow, and I can go back to the testing URL that I've used before. And now we can start asking questions about our product and what feedback users have. So let's ask about the mobile app again. So what were the pain points in the mobile app last month? I can see it's giving me a summary or a breakdown into categories. So pretty good. It's referencing also specific tickets and highlighting that it needs attention. So that's pretty good. I think that's good user feedback. And we should actually turn it into some product improvement suggestions and have it sent to a product team to work on. So I'll say, compile this into 3 product improvement suggestions and send it to the mobile app team lead to work on. All right, so the agent has processed the request and sent an email. Now, since I've put in my own email as the email address of the team lead for the mobile app team, it's going to send it to my email, and I've created a folder for it here. I can see that it's giving me the suggestions here. So stability, task assignment, and notification control. So that means it's processed the request, used the data, and used the email tool as well, and just using a natural conversation or within a chat widget connected to all of my tools. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the first version of this agent. So now I want to deploy it so that I can use it, and maybe other people in the company can use it as well. So to do that, I'll go and get the script from the chat trigger component that we've seen earlier, and that's the script right here. And so to embed it in an app, I'll again come back to this database of product feedback and support tickets that's built on software. And to embed the chat widget, I'll go here for the custom code option. And in the footer, I'll just paste the script and save that and publish my changes. And if I go back to the actual page and refresh it, I should see the chat widget pop up right here. And then I can use it to talk to the agent. So now the agent can help me get more work done faster, exactly where I need it. And it knows my product, and it knows what my customers need. Of course, since our no-code builder offers a modular approach, I could add as many tools as I like to the agent. I could make it much more advanced. For example, I could connect vector databases. Now, vector databases are the perfect solution where you want to connect large amounts of data for the agent to read. Or you could add more execution tools, such as tools for creating documents or assigning tasks to people on your team. I could also create a multi-agent system where each agent would specialize in just one type of task, such as researching leads, scraping websites, creating marketing content or writing product descriptions, documents, whatever I need. I would love to know what kind of agents are you planning to build, and where do you see this technology helping your users and your teams? Let me know what kind of AI agent tutorials you want to see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.